Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Reddit Aliens. I am John, and as always, thank you so much for being here. A good topic, a little not safe for work. Let's go. People who have had traumatic childhoods, what are some of the behaviors that you have as an adult that you didn't realize were a direct result from that trauma? Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Always being apologetic or never being able to make decisions. Language is full of tripwires for me. I cannot tolerate vagueness because it has been used against me so much. Getting overly attached to people way too quickly, which usually pushes them away and just destroys me over and over again. Self-doubt, need for affirmation, can't take criticism well. I spent most of my life being a good test taker. Now I find it difficult to have patience with myself while I struggle to learn or pick up new things. I realized recently that a lot of the cruel things that were said to me have embedded themselves into my regular vocabulary under the guise of self-deprecating humor. I used to loathe physical touch. After much contemplation, I realized I didn't trust anyone enough to make myself vulnerable, even for a hug. Jumping and sudden noises, apologizing profusely for everything, sometimes apologizing for apologizing, people-pleasing excessively, not valuing my worth, and an overwhelming fear that if I was ever my truest self, I would be left alone. I was recently diagnosed with CPTSD, and it definitely makes sense. I can't have music up loud, like above normal speaking volume, and if I have headphones in, they're really low volume, or I'm only wearing one earbud, just in case there's someone trying to get my attention. I'm terrified of being called for and not hearing it. Also, I apologize for absolutely everything, and am a people pleaser to a toxic degree. Overthinking, predicting, and preparing for worst case scenarios, having a higher tolerance for situations while also falling apart over tiny things, refusing to let people stand behind me, lack of trust for others, being very prepared for people to drop and leave me without reason or warning. Oh, I forgot to mention, you develop a physical need to help others. You want nothing more than to make others happy, to avoid or overcome ever feeling as you do, no matter what it costs, and you hope that you can make up for whatever it is you did to deserve it all. So let's play a game. Start counting these stories and see how many you may think you exhibit in your life. I've been counting, and the number was a little higher than I thought it'd be. Not sure if this is just really weird, but at work, whenever I ask for a day off, every job I've had, I had given a detailed description of why and the purpose of needing it off. Finally, at my current job, my direct supervisor, would keep telling me, I don't need to know why. I did some reflection and realized that in my youth, if I didn't explain things as far as being absent, feeling sick, or needing to go to the doctor, if I didn't have a good enough explanation, I was completely disregarded. It got ingrained in me to find the best possible reasoning behind nearly every choice I've ever made. I'm insanely flinchy, like I get startled super easily. People try to jump out and scare me, and they laugh when I jump back. I wish they knew, as it hurts sometimes knowing why it always gets me. Something I do that I recently learned other people don't do is constantly pay attention to my surroundings. I listen for footsteps, doors opening and closing, people's voices, water running in the pipes, cars pulling into the driveway, on and on. As a kid, I needed to know who was in my house and what they were doing. To this day, I still sleep on my stomach. When I failed the 4th grade, my dad was beyond pissed at his son being a failure. He told my mom to leave the house and had me drop my pants and take my whipping like a man. He bent me and beat me so long and so hard that the belt cut into my flesh, and there were chunks that were hanging loose. I literally had to take a pillow to school the next week to sit down on. The teacher was concerned, so she called the principal, vice principal, and 2 other teachers as witnesses and had me drop my pants in the boys' restroom. They were horrified, but didn't report anything when I told them why I was beaten. They told me to study harder to stop this from happening again. This was decades ago, but I still sleep on my stomach and never fail at anything I try to do. I try to answer questions and solve situations not based on what I think or want, but what I think the person who asked them would expect or be more likely to appreciate. Related, I also have a serious difficulty in making decisions. I must always weigh the pros and cons of everything, and in the end decide what is objectively the best thing to do, that benefits most people and/or causes less damage. I never manage to choose what I personally and egotistically want because I seriously don't know what I want. Sometimes, because of the impossibility to satisfy everyone or not discontent anyone, my brain just crashes and I freeze on the spot. I do not prioritize myself, be it health, time, or necessities. Everyone else in my life is ahead of me in the queue. This makes me seem incredibly helpful. Being helpful allows me to be present without being a target. Being helpful allows me to avoid my own problems because I'm too busy helping everyone else with theirs. Being helpful allows me to feel valuable instead of expendable. The only time I ever really take care of myself is if I know it will impact my ability to take care of someone else. It's the only way I've found to make healthier choices, and it's still barely enough. Well, it's sloppy, and at least you found an outlet to somehow take care of yourself. But remember, you can't take care of anyone unless you take care of yourself. Sounds cliche, but you learn the hard way. Eating very fast. I'm in my late 30s, and I still have this problem. When we were given food, we usually had to fight siblings, as there was never enough for us. At holidays, specific around Thanksgiving, I lost track of how many times my stepdad would get angry and throw the entire turkey dinner away. For good measure, he would spray the entire garbage can with bleach so we couldn't pick it out of the trash. So when you got food in my house, you would eat it as fast as you could before it was stolen from you. Don't worry though, had mountains of Pepsi products though. Being hyper-aware of anyone experiencing negative emotions in the room, feeling someone else's anger or depression very severely, and feeling as though I have to be the one to calm things down and keep the peace. Asking for permission to do literally anything, double-checking that I was doing the right thing, and always second-guessing myself, like to an abnormal level. If I'm relaxing and someone walks into the room, I will immediately act like I was in the middle of doing something or about to start doing something. I have to be busy in the presence of other people. I also move around very quietly and shut doors softly without thinking about it. It was best to be invisible growing up. I, male 54, always have it in the back of my mind that anyone that says they love me has an ulterior motive. Edit. I made this comment while first break at work at about 8 a.m. or so, and I'm just now, at nearly 5 p.m., being shocked and saddened on how many replies and upvotes there are. We all deserved better when we were kids, didn't we? I hope that all of you find the true love you very much deserve and never, ever have reason to doubt that love. Stepping away from persons of the opposite sex showing interest and being cold pretty much killed a few dozen potential relations with marvelous people. That's the result of being told year after year I wasn't desired as a child. Hard to recover and trust people. I've become a pathological liar, and I don't know how to get help for it. If there even is help for it. I mean, I try not to. I notice the damage it causes, but I can't seem to stop. I'm still young relatively, but I fear the damage is becoming irreversible, and it's always pretty scary when you go through threads like these and realize 70% of the things is stuff you do too. I only just realized this about a month ago. When I was a kid, I did poorly on a spelling test due to being sick. A couple days later, my mom found out about it. I was raised by my grandparents, so she hadn't been kept fully up to date. At the restaurant, when my mother found out about the test, she grabbed a fork and jammed me hard in the side. My grandparents did pretty much nothing in response. To this day, close to 4 decades later, I still spell random words in my head because failing a spelling test was worthy of a public stabbing. I will suffer in silence because I feel I need to help, but also anticipate vitriolic reprisal if I ask for help in the wrong way. I've been to therapy and am doing much better in that regard, but it still exists at the back of my mind. Something minor goes wrong because I made a mistake. I think it is all over, ruined, and everything is my fault. I feel I should just go crawl into a hole and die. Just thought on this again, and I guess that's why I like animal rescue videos. Mother cats raising an abandoned pup. The after part, the transformation that some love and care bring. No one did it for me. but it warms my heart to see it done for another, no matter that they're not my species. I don't think anyone really likes me, so I'm always second-guessing my behavior, wondering if that's why people don't like me. And if they do like me, why? What's the motive, and what do you want from me? No one likes me without using me or taking advantage of me for some reason. I also thought at times that I wasn't worthy of that, and it hamstrings your relationships, intrapersonal, professional, in every facet. Just realize that most people are genuinely good and they mean what they say. I move very quietly, to the point that people joke that I can teleport because I'm next to them before they realize I'm there. I scare the people I live with just about every day because they don't hear me enter a room. I also used to be able to just walk up on so much shit as a cop and prison guard because nobody ever heard me coming. That's a skill you learn when you grow up not wanting to be seen or heard. I have a complicated relationship with being loved. I never feel worthy of it. I was molested repeatedly as a kid by an older neighbor kid, 11, and didn't unpack and process it until much later in life. They were being molested by their dad at the time, so I don't hate them, just sad about the whole ordeal. I've ruined multiple relationships because I never believed that they loved me. It's incredibly frustrating deep down. I don't believe I have anything in me that a person would fall in love with. So when they tell me they love me, I get suspicious and upset and start sabotaging the relationship. I figure there must be an ulterior motive and that they're manipulating me. Also, I only feel comfortable sleeping with heavy clothes on and multiple blankets. When I was a kid, the man who abused me made me sleep naked and would sneak into my bed at night. Sleeping the way I do now is the only way I feel safe. I would guess it's a result of the abuse. Start sweating and panicking if I hear my husband doing chores, specifically dishes, while I'm still at work. We both WFH, but he's off 90 minutes earlier. Perfect time for him to catch up on housework, right? Apparently not. I hear it and go right back to my childhood. Dad is in a hitting mood and on his way home, so Mom is anxious and angry at everything and slamming stuff around to get the house clean as fast as possible.